Life is expensive. You can complain. Now our laddie, like impilo yako, it's so expensive. You don't sleep. You're always in your books. You always, ooh, I saw the. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Yeah,
It's,
ne?
you must
Uh,
sleep.
uh, if I were to live with Toby, I would have gone to I blew it right now. By now.
No, no,
She'll
not
be like,
even.
life is too short. Life is too short.
No, not even. But
Eat your
sometimes
money.
you must just spoil yourself. Don't tell yourself everything is expensive. Sometimes you know
Yeah,
what you did with
sometimes you need to. Yeah, you
exactly.
Tobile, ngiyavumelana no Tobile. Sometimes because this money you work so hard you don't sleep, but somebody else is eating it.
Exactly. Thank you, Mr. Mashang. See what I'm talking about? Like you are forever always working, but whenever you have to spend it, it's expensive. Able.
Ah, that's true. I do understand what you guys mean, especially if it comes with hard sweat.
How?
I do agree with you.
Yeah. So just
Anyway,
that man.
all right, guys, let's have a look at lesson 114, where we are going to talk about delivering customer experience in form of videos. So it's just revision, guys. I just want to give you something to listen to know the difference between findability and what do you call this,
Discover
discoverability.
discoverability.
So I'm going to play links on YouTube. Then we are going to it's not more than 10 minutes. Let's see if we can see my screen. Stop sharing. Share. And I also hope you are going to be able to hear sound.
Findability and discoverability are two concepts in UX related
Can you hear the sound?
We can.
Yes.
to accessing content or functionality within a website or app. While they're related, findability and discoverability differ, and the methods used to test each are different as well. Findability refers to whether or not users can easily locate a piece of content or functionality they assume exists. Think of it like when you're trying to find your keys or your phone when you're getting ready to leave your home. You know it exists somewhere, you just need to find where it is within your environment. Discoverability, on the other hand, refers to when users encounter new content or functionality that they weren't aware of. They weren't looking for it, they just happened upon it. These are the pleasant surprises in life when you discover that thing you didn't even know you needed. Testing to check whether something is findable on a website or app is fairly straightforward. In a usability test, ask participants to find that item. These are sometimes referred to as scavenger hunt tasks. And of course, normal task writing rules still apply, such as not giving them the exact labels used in the interface, and focusing on what the user's outcome would be and why they might want to find that piece of information or use that feature. Assessing discoverability is a little trickier, as it's about whether people notice something on their own, so you can't directly ask about it. In a usability test, you're somewhat forced to just wait and see whether the participant realizes that feature or content exists. If you probe or hint about it, you're back to testing findability. Analytics data is wonderful to analyze discoverability, as it allows you to see the real usage data. If users aren't using a feature or visiting a certain page, then they're either not interested in it, or something about the navigation or UI design is keeping them from discovering it exists. Designing for discoverability is about placing key content and features in areas that people are likely to see, which often means near the top of the page or beside related UI elements. Ensuring something is findable is about placing that item in its expected place. In other words, is there a strong information sense so people know where to go to locate that content? So the next time you're assessing content on your website or app, keep in mind these differences and the different research methods used to uncover each.
Did you get that, guys?
Yes.
Okay, and the last one.
them fail within the first year and 70% within the first 5 years of operations. The number one reason why startups fail is due to misreading market demand. Second, after solvency issues, is the lack of research. You have to know what your customers want to drive your design decisions. Too many new organizations go into the market thinking that they have a great service or product to offer, but they fail to realize that nobody wants that service or product. Which brings us to the main topic of this video. By researching your market and testing with real users, you will know exactly how to meet your potential customers' needs, increasing your or your company chances for success. I have already explained what user research is in one of my previous videos. Today we will focus on two of its most important methodologies: user and usability testing. The difference between usability and user testing is confusing to most people. Some people describe user testing as the process of validating the demand for a product, where usability testing answers if end user can or cannot do what they need to do on the existing prototype. There is another group which uses terms usability and user testing interchangeably. I'm leaning towards the first group. Usability testing is a method of testing the functionality of a website, app, or other digital product by observing real users as they attempt to complete tasks through it. The users are usually observed by UX researchers, but most of the time that role would be assigned to the person directly responsible for the design, aka you. The goals of usability testing are different for each study, but they usually focus on identifying problems in design, uncovering opportunities, or learning about the target user's behavior and preferences. Despite what I told you about the necessity of research and validation, a couple of times during my career I was met with a question: why do we need to do usability testing? Don't you know how to design a great user interface? Well, even the best UX designers can't design a perfect solution in the first go. That's why we need an iterative design process that is driven by observations of real users' interactions with our design. The sooner any crucial issues are discovered, the better our chances for the product success. Typical usability testing session consists of three elements: a facilitator, tasks to be performed, and participants. There are of course many types of usability testing, but those three are its core elements. The facilitator interviews and administers tasks to the participants, observes and records their actions. Facilitator is also guiding testers through the entire process, helping them if they have problems interacting with the product or service. In unmoderated, remote studies, most of those roles are handled by the service used to conduct them. Next element of usability testing is tasks. Tasks are realistic scenarios of usage that users would need to perform while interacting with our designs. They can be very specific or very open-ended depending on the type of testing and your goals. When it comes to participants, they must be realistic users of the product or service being studied. Those may be real users that are using an existing product or service already, or representatives of that type of users in a case where the product or service doesn't yet exist. Finding the right participants for your studies is often very challenging, because first you need to find the right people, and second you need to convince them somehow to share some of their time with you. If you are looking for testers that are already using your product, finding them is relatively simple, because you have access to your customers' contact info. You just need to reach them and offer them something, like a gift card. But if you are looking for participants for a product or service that does not yet exist, the situation is different, because first you need to find your target group somehow. Social media platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook can help you find proper targets through interest groups. Just look for groups that may host your ideal candidates and enroll them. Then reach out to individuals or post information that you are looking for people for your studies. There are also platforms like usertesting.com that do the heavy lifting for you, because they have hundreds or thousands of people in their database willing to participate. But those services are generally very pricey. You need to recruit at least 5 participants for your studies. That number of people will allow you to discover most of the potential issues. Now, there are 3 general types of studies, depending on the way you can conduct them: moderated and unmoderated, remote or in person, explorative or comparative. A moderated testing session is administered in person or remotely by you or another researcher. Remote usability tests are done over the internet. Explorative tests are open-ended, where participants are asked to give opinions and express emotional impressions. Comparative research methods involve asking users to choose which of the two solutions they prefer. We can also consider usability testing by another two general types: qualitative and quantitative studies. Qualitative usability testing focuses on collecting insights, findings, and anecdotes about how people use the product or service. Qualitative usability testing focuses on collecting metrics that describe the user experience. As you can see, there is a lot of theory behind usability testing. What I want you to remember is that no matter the definition and type of your study, the underlying goal of it is to validate your design against the real world and act accordingly to your findings. That's it for today. In the future videos, I will cover in more details various techniques of conducting usability testing, one of which I
Okay, guys, that was part of the revision. It was just covering everything that we have been discussing so far, and I hope you found it interesting. So, as we discussed in the previous lessons, findability and discoverability are closely related concepts in web design and digital marketing, but they serve distinct purposes. Findability refers to how easily users can locate a specific website or its content, whereas discoverability is about how users come across a website or its content without actively searching for it. So that's it for today, for this week. And next week, we are going to start a new chapter, which is campaigning for digital media. So how do we plan marketing campaigns and so forth? Are there any questions or any queries?
None from my side.
Nothing.
Okay, so guys, thank you so much for an interesting evening. And thank you for your presence, for attending the class.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
guys. Bye.
Good night.